Welcome to Action with Ease and Joy. This is the podcast for women entrepreneurs ready to turn procrastination into momentum and build their businesses with flow, alignment, and joy. I'm Thea Liljestrand.
And I am Gunilla Henriksson. And every episode, we will explore how to take inspired action while staying true to yourself. Let's dive in and get it done with ease and joy. Yes, so welcome, dear Colleen McCool. Is that how you say it?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
California, United States. Welcome to this podcast, taking action with ease and joy. And it's really nice to have you here. And I met you before, and you're a wonderful person and coach and everything.
Thank you.
Yes. So
Thank you so much for inviting me to be here. I'm really excited, and I love what you and Thea are doing, this impulse that you're bringing. I think it's really important.
Yes, and we are really happy to have you here.
Thank you.
Yes. Yes. So the first is how do you feel? How do you feel right now?
Well, I'm very excited to do this. This is a new thing for me, and I am trying to embrace doing new things that might be a little bit out of my comfort zone. So being on camera can be a little bit outside of my comfort zone, but I'm getting much more comfortable with it. And we had a technical difficulty as we were starting. So I felt myself getting a little like, oh no. But now I feel like once I saw you and I started hearing your voice, I felt like, oh, okay, I can relax and I'm excited.
Yes.
Yeah.
Great. Yes. Yeah. And if you just take some seconds or a minute to just tune into your heart a little bit. You can just close your eyes and just tune into your heart. And feel the roots all the way down to Mother Earth. And slowly get back to here and now. Yes.
Thank you for that.
Yes, to ground ourselves a little bit. Yes. So I'm very curious about if you can tell us about your path from being a teacher to becoming a coach. What guided you to make that shift?
Yes. So I was a Waldorf kindergarten teacher for 20 years. And when I joined that community, found that career, I just felt so incredibly lucky to be a part of a community and a group of colleagues who had the same purpose and commitment. And I loved being with children, and I just really loved the spiritual and artistic and child development pieces all coming together as a teacher. After 20 years, well, probably more like after 15 years, I just realized that it was exhausting. The collegial work was really rich, and working with the children and the parents, I really loved it. But the combination of all of it, as well as teachers, we had a lot of responsibility just for the administering of the school. And I realized I was working. I felt like I was on call 24/7. It was always in my mind. And if not in my mind, I was speaking with parents or colleagues. We always had a crisis to manage. And after that many years, I realized I was pretty exhausted and burnt out, maybe. I don't know if that was that, but and I had begun coaching for myself personally at that time, a few years before I left my job. And I was going through a separation with my husband of 20 years. And so all these things sort of came to a head at the same time. My husband was diagnosed with a terminal illness after we had separated, which really made me need even more personal coaching to work through that situation. But I ended up caring for him through his illness, and then he passed away. And then I took a leave of absence from my job for a year because I was scared to actually just quit my job.
Okay. Yes.
Because I didn't know what was going to happen next. And so I thought, oh, I'll take a leave of absence. That's safe. Then I can go back if whatever I do doesn't work out. But I also I didn't really know what else I could do because I had been doing that job, that work, basically my adult life. And it was so consuming that I hadn't given a lot of thought of what else could I do.
Yes.
But in the coaching program I was in, there was a peer coaching aspect to it. And the woman who ran the program was my personal coach, and she knew I was thinking about a career change. And she said that in the peer coaching, she noticed that I had some qualities that she thought would be beneficial as a coach. And would I be interested in doing a coach training and working alongside of her? And it threw me because that was not something I had ever considered.
Whoa.
And I thought, well, I'll do the training, and if I don't become a coach, at least it will be beneficial to me personally. It'll just help me grow more. So I started the training, and within the training, there was a practicum. So you had to have some clients that you were working with as a practicum. And as soon as I started working with people, it was just an instant fit for me. And it felt so good. And I realized that really all my experience from teaching was a great bridge to coaching, because I did a lot of parent support, working with parents, and then again, a lot of collegial working. So I had this idea that I had only worked with children. I haven't worked with adults, but in reality, I had been working with adults as well all along. And so it was a really beautiful transition. And also my experience of child development and human development came into play so much in the working with clients. And so it was scary at first to leave my job where I knew I would get a paycheck every 2 weeks. And I worked for another person for her business for about a year and a half. And then I decided to do my own coaching business.
Yeah.
And so now I've been doing that for it'll be 4 years, I guess, in 3 years in June, 3 or 4 years by myself in June, 5 years coaching.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's amazing. The story. I mean, what you're telling me, it's how life is bringing us to where we're supposed to be. I mean,
yes.
It's very touching.
Well, and I feel like I made it sound like it was this very smooth, easy transition. It was not that. There was a lot of struggle in it because, of course, I lost my husband, and then COVID happened. And then I was diagnosed with cancer, and I had, fortunately, I just had surgery, and that took care of it. I didn't have to have longer term treatment. But there were so many different things happening. And I feel like the coaching I had received really helped me to stay out of a victim position. That was really my go-to in the relationship dynamics, to always feel like, poor me, or I'm doing and giving so much and I don't get seen or helped or recognized. And so, especially when I received that cancer diagnosis, I felt like I was able to sit and wait for the further testing to see what was happening before I jumped to conclusions and went to the worst case scenario. And
Wow.
and now you and I participated in Shimrit's program, the RISE program, which just deepened all of that work. And now I really feel like everything is such an opportunity. And there's so much possibility. which really was not my approach in the past. So I'm so
Wow.
grateful for that.
It's touching, very touching. I mean, all these things you've been through. Yep.
It was a wild time.
Yeah. So congratulations, really.
Thank you.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, I feel so grateful just that I really feel like getting my own learning about myself and getting coaching for myself just opened up so many possibilities, because now I have this life where I work remotely. So I have my daughter lives in Guatemala and her husband and my grandson. I'm able to travel there and
Yes.
still work. And I was in Copenhagen with you and able to work a little bit there as well. So it's
Yeah.
just really changed my lifestyle so much too, which has been so fun, so great.
It's wonderful. Yeah. So let me see. What questions do you have? How did it feel in your body and heart to say yes to your own dream?
It felt scary at first. I don't know if scary is the right word. It was like I had this really deep inner voice that was saying, this is what is next for you. This is what you need to do. And then it was the other voices, the committee in my head that was telling me the reasons why that wasn't going to work out. But still that inner voice was overpowered them. And it felt like I had to do something different. I knew I had to do something different because I wasn't feeling always good about my work as a teacher, feeling like I was exhausted and burnt out and felt like I wasn't giving what that job required and deserved at the same time. So it was a big...
Exactly. And I wonder, did you had to do a change, right? And did you have somewhere inside of you faith that everything was going to open up because you didn't know that you were going to become a coach, right? But
Right.
did you have like some faith that something is going to come to me? I mean, I'm going to know one day. Or how was it?
Yeah, well, I did. I was questioning whether coaching would really be the thing, or even if it was the thing, would I actually be able to support myself in that way? So I had this idea that if that doesn't work out, I can work at a coffee shop or a restaurant and, make enough money to pay my bills. And then maybe I would be able to imagine what else I would like to do, or some other possibility would show itself. And yeah, I felt unsure of another career that could happen. But again, just so clear that I had to shift gears and do something different, and something that would allow some space in my life, again, to be able to realize what else am I interested in, or what other skills or things do I have to offer. And so knowing that, here, if you work at Starbucks here in the US, you can get health insurance and you can, make a fairly decent enough wage. So that was sort of in the back of my mind as the fallback. And of course, I could always go back to my job teaching if nothing else was working. But then there was a very clear no inside of me about that possibility.
Yes.
So I feel like I did a lot of moving back and forth from feeling really confident to feeling really unsure, and a lot of time in that middle space of,
yes,
this might work out. And
yeah, all these voices or paradigms or inner critics and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I guess. Yes. How do you make space for both action and stillness in your creative process?
Well, I have really honed a daily routine or rhythm as far as meditation and affirmations and walking, doing some kind of exercise every day. And I stopped listening to news and podcasts that weren't uplifting and helping me to stay in a higher energy or a higher vibration. And that has made a huge difference for me, feeling like I have more room just inside of my head, number one, um, and feeling much more grounded in myself, so that when I do meet with a client, I feel like I'm coming from a much more solid and open place, if that makes sense.
Yes, it definitely does. Yeah, I can, when you say it, I can feel it, you know, that like you say, if you're caught up in the news or your attention is always here and you're not getting centered or grounded in space like you need when you're coaching other people. It's
Right.
yeah, yeah, it makes sense.
And meditation, for years I tried to have a meditative practice, and I never was able to do it consistently. And I had a lot of expectations and ideas about how that should look and what it should look like. And again, through the program that we were in, making meditation a daily part of my life. Now it's as much a part of my life as brushing my teeth when I get up in the morning. And if once in a while that doesn't happen, I mean, I still brush my teeth, but if I don't happen to have time for the meditation, I really notice it inside of myself. And now it just feels like this little luxury. And sometimes it's 15 minutes and sometimes it's 40 minutes. It just sort of depends on the day and what I feel like when I check in with myself in the morning. What is it that I need today? What is it that I want to cultivate? And then I find a meditation that speaks to that.
That's wonderful. Like you say, to take that time for listening to yourself and what you need. It's so important. That's
Yeah.
mm,
And 10 years ago, that would not have been in my thoughts at all. You know, you just get up and get going and do the next thing that you have to do and get done.
yes. Wow. That's beautiful. Yeah.
I love it.
Yes. Mm. Are there any practices, rituals, or inner tools that help you stay connected to your vision?
So meditation again does. And then I also every day have a visualization that, you know, I guess it could be considered a kind of a meditation too, where I go through the day, I visualize what's happening in that day, and just imagine, you know, the people that I'm going to meet with. I sort of, in bed, before I get out of bed, I do this visualizing of the day, and I just kind of picture them and say hello to them in my thoughts, and then
Yes.
and I picture myself going for my walk. And I've just started playing pickleball in the last couple of months, which is super fun. So I also picture myself finding time for that several days out of the week, and really picturing what am I going to do that feels good to me, as well as what is it that I need to get done, or the commitments that I have for that day. Also, I really try to prioritize what are the commitments to myself, such as walking and doing a meditation and cooking. I really like to cook, so making the space in my day to prepare something that's going to taste good as well as energize me. And
Yes.
yeah. And I have a couple of Carmen had suggested or shared with me a practice of when your energy starts to go a different direction than you want it to to use some sort of movement and some sort of image to bring yourself back, kind of back on track, to remind yourself of what your intention is for that day. And so I have a few just movements and things that I say to myself when I notice that I'm veering off course a little bit.
Yeah, do you, it's a movement you do with your body?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So I had in Waldorf school, we had eurythmy. You're familiar with that?
Yes.
The
Yes.
movement. So there's some kind of movements that I have taken from that, and just more kind of like expansive and contracting motions, and you know, up above, down below, I maintain the middle, that sort of thing. Just helps quickly to bring me back to myself.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Great. Yes.
And then I have a little ritual before I meet with clients. Is that
Yeah. Yes.
question also?
Yeah.
So I like to do I kind of jump around a little bit and do a few squats and just try to get myself feeling my body again, especially if I've just been sitting for a client, a session. So I get up and just try to get my heart beating a little bit.
Yeah.
And then I will sit down and say a verse out loud, usually if I'm here by myself. I'm always here by myself, but yeah, I just have a little verse that I say to help me focus on my client and that time that we're about to step into.
Great. Yeah. So you're hiring your frequency. You're getting raise your frequency, and also, like you say, getting centered, or with the words, or you said to
Yeah.
yourself. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And how long does it take usually? Like
3 minutes, 4 minutes. Yeah, just quickly. It's
yes. Good.
yeah, it's quick and easy and doable.
Yes.
And it helps me because if you have clients close together, then you got to get up and go to the bathroom and have something to drink, and
Exactly. Yes.
tend to get that kind of
Yeah.
rushing energy. So just helps to bring it back down.
Yes.
Yeah.
To become neutral again from the other, leaving the other and getting into the new ones.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. What would you say to someone who feels the nudge to change but does not know how to begin?
Yeah. That's a good question. Well, again, I think really coming inside yourself and checking in with yourself. What is my motivation for change? What is it that I want to feel differently? And what is it that I actually want to be feeling in my daily work life, or my daily life? I think really knowing your own motivation for why you were doing the work you were doing and what's changed, and then what is the feeling that I want to have when I think about the career or the next thing that I want to do. How do I feel inside? Does it feel expansive? Does it feel constricting? Do I feel like I have to do something, or I should do something? Or is it that I really am wanting something different?
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yes. No, I'm thinking also about what you said when you were a teacher, and how it was, yeah, getting like too much in everywhere, how and you were ready to really feel something different, because
Yeah.
you didn't want it any longer to be like that.
Yeah, I think in that case, I was losing track of what is my intention, or what is it that I'm wanting to bring into the world or to support in the world. And I was losing track of that because I was so physically and emotionally drained, I think.
Exactly, yeah.
From that. Yeah.
Caught up in, like you say, almost day and night.
Yeah. Yeah. Kind of a hamster wheel.
Yes.
And now when I even talk to colleagues, friends who are still doing that work and they tell me what's going on, I just go, oh, that was a really good decision for me.
Wow, it's wonderful.
You know, so
Yes.
yeah.
And also, like you said, to do something different, it's not always easy because there's all these different voices, paradigms, or inner critics that's, can shout or be very loud.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a challenge. It can be a challenge to
Absolutely.
go out of the comfort zone.
Yes, especially when now for me, I'm depending on myself to create this income, where it's such a different dynamic when you work somewhere and they're compensating you for the work that you do. Now, when you have your own business, you're doing the work and you're figuring out how to compensate yourself and how to manage the influx and the, it's not always a dependable number. Your income is not always the same every month when you're working for yourself, or for some people maybe it is, but for me that hasn't been the case. So being able to sit with myself when I don't have as busy of a month or as many clients, and then having months where I do end up having a lot of clients and it feels really good. My work now is okay, but I'm not going to just rest on that month and feel like I don't have to do anything now because I had a really good month. That's that paying attention to that was a new thing for me.
Yes.
Having my business.
And how do you take action in your business with ease and joy? Or do you do it?
Yeah. Yeah, well, it's interesting. I feel like now I have much more ease, and I feel much more confident that I will have clients, whereas early on I could feel scarcity around that and get a little nervous when, okay, it's been however long since I signed a new person up. What am I going to do about it? And I haven't really found my place in social media as far as how I want to promote my business that way. And I worked with my coach about that a lot, because what is it, resistance out of fear, or is it resistance because that's just doesn't resonate with me? And I still am asking myself that question. But what I have noticed is when I have really clear affirmations and intentions about my income and the number of clients that it feels like I can coach successfully and confidently.
Yes.
When I am really holding that picture, then the clients come.
Yeah. So that's how you do it.
Yeah. And I do also, I communicate with people, I check in with previous clients. I like to keep some communication going there, because it's also really important and interesting to me to know how are they doing, what's happening in their lives 6 months out of coaching or 2 years out of coaching. And and I feel like those connections and keeping those connections often can lead to them recommending someone to my business, or maybe they're in need of some more care. And one thing that I have really started doing as far as trusting my intuition, which was a whole nother journey, learning to trust my intuition, but I feel really confident I'm enjoying that experience of something pops into my head, someone pops into my head, and I reach out to them. And often, so many times when I do that, the other person says, I was just thinking about you, or I was just telling someone about working with you. And I also had the reason I'm trusting that so much is because I had the opposite experience of people would pop into my mind or my thoughts several times. And I would kind of think, maybe I should reach out to them. And then I'd think, oh, no, don't do it. And then I would find out that they're coaching with someone else, or I would find out that they found a different kind of program to work in. And so it really made me realize that, not necessarily that they would have signed up with me, but when that happens, it's not just a fluke, and maybe I can provide something for someone, some support, or even, just encouragement to find something else that would be supportive for them. And so I'm really been practicing doing that, and it's been fruitful for me. I have gotten clients that way too. So that feels like ease. That feels like and joy, because I also get to reconnect with these people that I always feel the clients that I have when it's time for them to move on, I'm always kind of sad, or I'm happy for them. And I'm also feel like, oh, I'll really miss knowing them or engaging with them. So.
Well, it's touching me, this you saying when you listen to the intuition, and it's ease and joy when it just comes to you, and you do something about it. Not like before, but now you take contact with these people, and then it's actually you heard the right thing.
Right. And it feels like I can do that because for me, the part of the business that I love and comes naturally to me is engaging with people. I'm not a spreadsheet person necessarily, or again, I don't do a lot of social media. So those are the things that when I consider reaching out in those ways, that is when I feel a little resistance or a little constriction, I guess you would say.
Yeah.
But when I'm doing the other thing of just talking and engaging with people, that feels really good. And often something comes out of it too that's beneficial for my business. So
yes.
Yeah. And I also learned from Carmen to do what feels good and what you enjoy.
Yeah. And just to let the audience know, Carmen is your prior coach from Rise with Shibud Nativ. Yeah.
Right.
Yes. Well,
so,
wonderful. Yeah.
Well, one of those things was I have now gone and done some talks at the school that I used to work at. So some talks on parenting and child development, and I've really enjoyed doing that. It's been really fulfilling to me, and it's also another way to connect with people in a joyful and easeful way, rather than feeling like I'm forcing something.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
Where can people find you or work with you if they feel called to, contact you?
Oh, thank you. Yeah, well, I have a website, and my website is ColleenMcCoolCoaching.com. Pretty easy. And there's information there on how you can contact me for a discovery call, which is a complimentary call to discuss what's happening for you or what your impulse is for coaching, and get to know each other and see if we are a fit for one another. Yeah. That and
we'll write it below the podcast. Yes. Yeah.
Thank you.
Great.
Yeah. And my focus in coaching is to help people connect with themselves and what it is that they are really wanting and the life that they're really wanting to create, and then how to overcome those patterns of behavior and old beliefs that can get in the way
Yes, so
of creating what it is that you're wanting.
yeah, so to really know what you want, what your heart and soul want, not the paradigm and inner critics and stuff like that. Yeah.
And how to be kind to yourself through the process.
Yeah.
Tend to be so hard on ourselves. I know that I was, and so that's something that I really want for my clients too, is to be able to do it with kindness and compassion and commitment to yourself at the same time.
Yes. Beautiful.
Okay.
Anything else you wanted to add before we stop?
Let's see. Well, I just love that you and Thea again are creating this community for women who are wanting to have more, a deeper, more purposeful work in their lives, and to do it with joy and ease, which is such a shift from our culture, really. The idea that you have to just put your nose to the grindstone and work so hard, and I know my old belief that you're only successful if you're working really hard. And I think I know that when I was teaching, I was successful as far as my interpersonal relationships and the way I feel like I supported children. If you define success as financial, I was not very financially successful. But now, well, and again, I had this idea that if you're doing something really purposeful and idealistic, you won't be compensated for that financially. You'll get your reward in heaven or something. And but I have found that through the coaching, I actually am much more financially secure than I was in my other work, and I'm working a fraction of the hours, and it's I have this lifestyle where I can travel and be with my family and play pickleball and go for walks. I mean, it's just there's so much more flexibility, and it feels really luxurious in a lot of ways. And you get to know yourself in a lot of different ways too. When you're running your own business, creating your own business, you really come up against yourself and learn what your beliefs are, and you have a lot of opportunity to work through those. But I love listening to the podcast and listening to you and Thea laughing and just joyfully working together. I think it's a great impulse to bring. And I'm just honored to be asked to participate. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for everything you shared, and deep things about your transformations, and a lot of celebrations, really, and what you want to contribute in the world. Thank you for listening to Action with Ease and Joy.
And join our newsletter at actionwitheaseandjoy.com